An aging lion, once king of the savannah, is left wounded and alone until a retired ranger risks everything to save him. Witness a powerful tale of survival, compassion, and second chances. Watch till the end and comment. Would you do the same for a wild animal? As dawn breaks over Zimbabwe's vast Wong National Park, the first golden rays stretch across a canvas of shimmering grasslands. Life begins to stir. Elephants trumpet in the distance. Birds sing their morning symphonies, and wildebeest amble through the mist. But among this grandeur, a lone figure disrupts the harmony. There, limping through brittle brush, moves an old male lion. His once regal mane now thinned and ragged, his golden coat dulled by dust and time. For over a decade, he had ruled this region, a monarch among predators, a shadow feared across the savannah. But time, as it does to all, has finally caught up. His limbs are no longer strong, his reflexes dulled. And in the hierarchy of the pride, weakness is a death sentence. Recently, young challengers, full of strength and ambition, began to circle. Tensions flared. One morning, they struck. The clash was brutal. Fangs tore into flesh. Paws pummel bone. The old lion tried to resist, but his body betrayed him. Bloodied and exhausted, he was driven from his kingdom. The grasslands that once trembled under his roar, now echoing with silence in his absence. What follows is not a chase, but a slow, painful retreat. Wounded and disoriented, the old lion limps away from his former territory, past familiar trees and dry riverbeds, toward the edge of the park, a place wild lions rarely venture. Each step is agony. Deep gashes in his leg fester with infection. His ribs press against thinning skin. Hunger claws at his belly, but hunting is out of the question. Even small prey evade him now. The sun climbs higher, relentless in its heat. Without shade or water, the lion begins to sway, his breath labored. He collapses more than once, yet some ancient instinct compels him forward. And then, remarkably, the landscape begins to change. Fences, dusty roads, simple wooden homes, the outskirts of a human settlement. The lion, in his desperation, has crossed a boundary no wild beast dares to breach. In one of those humble homes lives Mrs. Farida, a retired park ranger now in her 70s. For decades, she worked in Wong National Park, studying, protecting, and understanding the wildlife. She chose not to leave after retirement, instead settling just beyond the reserve's edge, where she could remain close to the animals she had dedicated her life to. That morning, as the sun filters through wooden slats and the scent of wild marula fruit drifts in from her garden, Mrs. Farida hears something unusual, a faint growl, not of aggression, but of exhaustion. She steps onto her porch and freezes. Lying just meters away is the massive form of an old lion, his sides heaving, his amber eyes dull, but still watching. To most, this would be a moment of terror. But to Farida, who has seen lions up close in the wild, tranquilized them, treated them, is something else. She sees not a predator, but a creature in need. Though her heart pounds, Farida's years of experience take over. She retrieves her old first aid kit, dusty, long and used, and cautiously approaches. The lion doesn't move. She kneels beside him, murmuring softly, "Don't be afraid. I will help you." Her hands, though trembling, are steady as she begins cleaning the wounds. Dried blood cracks beneath the bandages. The smell is foul. Infection has taken hold. At one point, the lion groans, a deep and pained sound. But he remains still, trusting, or perhaps simply too weak to resist. Hours pass beneath the bright Zimbabwean sun as Farida tends to the old lion. She knows she cannot care for him alone. When the worst of the wounds are dressed, she steps back and calls the conservation team she once worked with. They're skeptical at first. A lion? Near your house? Alone? But when they hear the tone in her voice, calm, measured, unwavering, they believe her. Help is on the way. Then, like a distant drumbeat across the dry earth, came the sound of salvation. A conservation truck rolled into view, its sides emblazoned with the familiar emblem of Wong National Park. In its rear, a heavy metal cage, medical kits, and the tools of humane capture. The rangers moved with quiet precision, eyes scanning the scene, reading every subtle cue. There, lying just beyond the wooden porch, was the great lion, bandaged, weakened, but still noble in his stillness. A tranquilizer rifle was raised. One sharp hiss, the dart struck. The old lion winced, his muscles tensed, and then, like a weary tree bowing to the wind, he surrendered to sleep. Gently, reverently, they lifted his body into the crate, and just as the door was about to close, something remarkable happened. The lion's eyes opened once more. He looked not at the men, but at Farida. In that brief gaze was something ancient. Recognition. A wordless thank you. Then silence. The gate shut. The journey to safety began. The old lion was not taken to a zoo, nor exiled to some distant corner of the wild. Instead, he was brought to a quiet sanctuary deep within Wong National Park, a secluded recovery compound, reserved for those rare creatures caught between life and death, wilderness and care. Meanwhile, Farida returned to her wooden home on the edge of the grasslands. But her world was no longer the same. Though the nights were quiet and the wind still rustled the tall grass as it always had, her thoughts remained tethered to a pair of amber eyes and a battered mane. Had she acted in time? 7 long days passed. Unable to silence the ache in her heart, she drove to the park once more. The rangers welcomed her like family, leading her through the familiar trails of her past. And there, beneath the soft shade of an old acacia, stood the lion. Alive, healing, watching, as if he had been waiting for her too. And there he was, no longer the crumpled figure gasping at death's doorstep, but a creature rising once more with quiet dignity. The old lion stood beneath the dappled shade, his mane tousled by the breeze, his leg now dressed with clean bandages. The swelling had receded. The pain, though present, had softened. And as Farida approached the enclosure, his eyes found hers. For a moment, the barriers of species, age, and time seemed to fade. With a limping step, he moved closer, not with dominance, but with recognition. She extended her hand through the bars, brushing the coarse fur along his mane. The lion leaned into the touch, eyes drifting shut as if savoring the presence of a long-lost companion. He's healing, a ranger murmured from nearby, but he'll never return to the pride. He's too old, too injured. Still, he has a place here for the rest of his days. Farida nodded, eyes glassy with emotion. There was sorrow in that truth, yes, but also profound peace. He would not face the end alone. He was home at last. As she turns to leave, Farida looks back one last time. The lion watches her, his eyes soft, his body calm. 2 old souls, brought together by the quiet dignity of the wild. She places a hand over her heart and whispers, "You still matter." Then she walks away, knowing her role in his story is complete. And for the lion, once king, now a fading symbol of survival, there is no need for pride or power or territory. He is something rarer, peace. In the golden light of Zimbabwe's vast grasslands, a bond was formed, not just between a lion and a woman, but between age and understanding, between the wild and the human heart. The old lion, once cast aside by nature's ruthless cycle, found peace in an unexpected place, at the doorstep of kindness. This story reminds us that compassion knows no species. Even the fiercest creatures of the wild can fall. And when they do, it's our shared responsibility to extend a hand. Sometimes, the most powerful act of bravery is simply choosing to care. As the old lion stood behind the safety of the fence, his eyes met Mrs. Farida's once more. 2 old souls, weathered by time, connected by a silent understanding. And in that look was a thank you, not just for saving a life, but for giving it dignity. If this story touched your heart, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and share your thoughts in the comments below. Let's celebrate the bond between humans and the wild, one story at a time.